So all good is on, guys. I am not lying to you. I don't know how I finagle this, or somebody is lying to me, and they, or they, I don't know. Hopefully, this is actually all good. Let's see. We're bringing them on. So,
I'm getting a
oh
lot.
my God, it's actually her. All good. How are you?
I'm fine. You make,
Oh
oh
my
God,
gosh, this
you
is
make me
making my
nervous.
night. Oh, I'm so sorry. You have an accent. That's awesome. Where's your accent from?
Yes, I'm from Pakistan.
That's so cool.
Well, my parents were from India. I know you love Indian food, and I will
Oh my
cook you.
God, I do.
Yes, yes. A lot
So,
of, well,
so now that I know that you're Pakistani, uh, what what's your favorite Pakistani place in the Houston area?
um, it's got, what's it called? Kebab House. Have you heard of
Kebab
Kebab
House.
House?
I
It
haven't.
it is on Mason Road. It's in Katy area where I am, and let's see, it's delicious. They're kind of, if you can stand spicy food,
Mm,
which I think you do, you
yes.
can, you'd love it. So
Oh wow,
that's
Kebab
right
House.
around, yeah.
So yeah,
Mm.
on the 16th or so, I'm going to be heading back for some meetings. So if I tell you where I live, you'll probably know what company I work for. So you just can't promise to tell anybody else. Actually, no, I did promise that if Hidden Freedom Investing got you to come online, I would tell people what I do. But maybe we could reveal that a little bit later. Do you want to tell people where you are in your investing career and and I'm so flabbergasted that you actually came on. This makes me so happy. Um,
Well, well, yeah, I was. It just, I broke down. I said, "Well, might as well." You called out my name so many times, so I said, it's. I might as well just get it over with. That it will be hanging on me. But my investment career is really nothing to see. That's the problem. I don't have any content, nothing to share much, because I am 65, and I started when I was like, I got some money as a my dad from my dad's side. It, it's kind of like, oh gosh, I'm nervous. What's that word? Uh, it's when my dad died, he gave us. Oh, come on, I'm so
Inherited.
nervous. Like, inheritance, yes, that's. I was sharing with that with Dave and Gen X on the Discord chat, and now I'm just kind of so nervous. Anyways, yeah, I had some inheritance, so my siblings, they all blew it, but I
Oh, wow.
did not touch the principal. I invested in the stock market, not knowing what I was doing. But a friend of ours said, "You don't know what you're doing, so start with ETFs." So I just picked up a bunch of ETFs, which I did not know what I was doing. And ever since then, and then Vanguard will not allow you, it's not commission free with single stocks. If you invest with Vanguard ETFs, that's for free. So being El Cheapo that I am, I said, I'm not paying a single penny for any commission. So I got all the Vanguard ETFs, and I made pretty good money, except the VDE, which is the energy
Mm.
ETF, right? Because my husband is a petroleum engineer, so I said, oh, and he made good money. I said, I'm going to make good money on that. But I was getting in, stupid me, I was getting in when everybody else was getting out. It was 2015, you
Mm.
know, and it went. I paid so much for it that it went down, 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 and I'm now like, I'm big time in I'm
Wow.
all
Yeah.
red in there. So I'm waiting for it to pick up so that I can sell it. Other than that, then I got into then M1 Finance, and Robinhood came along, and I said, and that's just like 6 months ago, I got into Robinhood, commission free. Then I got some single stocks there, and sold most of them because I got scared. I'm more comfortable with ETFs, and that's pretty much it. I have, I'm Bank of America, Triple M, Altria, AbbVie, just on my fingertips, I can say, and Eaton Vance. They're all good dividend-paying stocks, and the rest are all ETFs like SPHD. DGRO,
Yeah.
some bonds, lots of bonds in there because I'm old. I don't want to kind of, risk it. So that's pretty much it. And I'm loving it. And I love your show. And I love that you come visit, and you regularly or whenever you come to Houston. So that was a kind of like a rapport with you
Hmm.
and everybody else, like Gen X and Hidden Freedom. Their content is so much. I
Wow.
learned so much from them. Yeah, I learned so much because I don't know anything. You are the young kids that I learned from. So
Well,
yeah.
I honestly have so many questions for you. I mean, I think
Oh
that
really?
you have a
Mm.
perspective that I think a lot of folks probably wouldn't have. And my parents are around your age as well. They're getting around to that age, and so I have this conversation with them a lot. They say, well, what are you doing with your investments? And I'm like, well, I'm in a very different time horizon. I have 20, 30 years additionally to invest, and so I'm just going to keep investing, right? But you're
Yes.
in a different horizon. I mean, in 1 to 2 years, you might actually really need that money. So I'm curious what your investing strategy is, knowing that a potential recession might be coming, and you are in a potential. Uh, you have a less of a time horizon where you might actually need the money. So I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
Okay, now in that situation, it's very different. My situation is different because my husband is the one who really pays all the bills, and he has achieved by scrimping and saving and being very frugal. We have achieved the fired stage. We have,
Yeah.
we are comfortably off. We don't waste money. I drive a 25-year-old Lexus, which he bought new for me like 25 years ago, and it still runs very well because he takes care of it. But we don't live very lavishly. So there's money now. The money I invest, that he says that's your money, your dad's, inheritance. I have nothing to do with it. But
Hmm.
he's old school. He does not want me to invest. He says, you'll get burned, blah blah blah. I said no, let me try it, and I did good. So it was like, see, I could do it as a woman,
Hmm.
and as a homemaker. I never worked in my life. uh, I made pretty good money. So he's like, he does not like it. He's like quiet about it. And now I'm telling him, invest in there. He's just sitting with CDs, and we just, the income from CDs what we kind of live on, and it's pretty comfortable,
Yeah.
that way.
Well, I mean,
So that.
so I'm assuming you're very similar in age. So at this point, CDs might not, if you're able to live a comfortable lifestyle even off of interest from CDs. I mean, maybe it's not a bad thought either. But I think that a lot of the companies that you're investing in, 3M, Altria Group, and some of the ETFs that you're investing in, I mean, those pay a similar sort of yield. Say the S&P 500 probably pays a similar yield to some of the CDs that he's getting. So in that respect, it's almost like you can't go wrong either way. Generally speaking, the S&P 500, even in a very poor performing market like in 2008, was still paying out 80% of the dividends that it paid out the year before. So, I mean, I don't think that you are in a bad situation. You also said you had a decent amount of bonds as well. It's very interesting. It's awesome.
Yes, yes. So I'm okay with it, but still I've got a long ways to go to learn, some of the stuff that I'm still not sure about. But yeah, but I was not interested in just going in S&P 500 or just in one, like VOO, VTI, and not have hands-on. It's fun to see how the market goes up, and you invest in like single stocks and ETFs, and then sometimes it goes down. So it's kind of like, but ever since I discovered you young guys, and I've learned so much. So I've become more confident. Otherwise it was like a lonely world, for since
Mhm.
2013 I have been investing,
Mhm.
and it was so lonely because when the oil market went down and my VD just really did bad, I had nobody to talk to. So
Yeah.
now everybody is in that boat. People who have invested, that you are the first one who showed your pie, and a huge chunk of it is in energy. And I said, oh my God, he's invested in energy. So I used to keep asking you how you're doing with that, and how you're doing with your energy, because it's a big chunk of investment. So that gives me so much hope that if you are still invested and you're, it's people say it's going to come back up. So that is something that makes me feel better about my investment, and I don't feel like I'm so stupid. I did a stupid thing to invest in stock market.
Yeah, well, so you could probably start putting two and two together at this point. So I invest a lot in energy. I used to live in Houston. You already mentioned that your husband's a petroleum engineer. I'm a petroleum engineer as well.
Oh
Um,
my gosh,
yeah,
yes.
so
Awesome.
it probably makes a lot of more sense now as to why I generally, when people ask me stuff about Exxon or BP or Shell, I have a little bit more knowledge around what a good investment might be. So I don't want to really say at this moment what company it is or anything like that, but you probably will know. I used to work on the building is on the corner of 6 and Highway 10, I-10. So you probably know what company that is just by knowing where it's located. So it's not downtown or anything like that. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
I yeah, I think I have an idea. I'm not. I'm still kind of. Well, I'm going to ask my husband. He will know for sure. I'm not. I don't look. Yeah, at buildings. So it's I-10 and Highway 6.
Highway 6, yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I got it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So it probably makes a little bit more sense. And I'm always curious. A lot of folks that I know that invest in energy stocks have always, and I'm curious now because you said that you're down so much on it. I know a lot of people that when the downturn happened in 2014, 2015 timeframe, they were so much concentrating on investing in the broader energy market. I was more so trying to find I don't want to say diamonds in the rough because a lot of them aren't really in the rough. I mean, I was focusing on investing in, say, Exxon's, your Shells, your BP's at the right time. And so I feel like overall, I believe I'm way up in terms of my positions. Some of the positions I don't really have a dictation as to when I can purchase them because I get some of them through work as well. And so those ones I kind of just take whenever I can get them through work. But most of the time when I'm able to be very, very selective, I mean, I think I'm currently even on a lot of my Exxon shares, my Shell shares. I have a decent amount of money on, and we just looked at the CQP shares. I'm up a little bit on that, but in terms of total returns with dividend reinvesting and stuff like that, I'm up as well. So maybe it's just the fortunate way that I've been investing over the past 4 or 5 years or so that has allowed me to do that. But I think what ends up happening is there are some companies that have obviously gone bankrupt over this. I mean, the oil price going down and a lot of people investing through the inflationary periods of the 2012, 2013, 2014 when the price was continuing to go between $80 and $100 a barrel. And unfortunately, people doing that, the service companies are able to obviously charge a higher premium. And so that ends up shrinking people's margins and their break-even costs obviously goes up. And so people are all competing against each other. And then eventually the price goes down and, the people that don't have the cash and are really built on, I don't want to say a pile of or a house of cards, but unfortunately in some cases, they're expanding their empire by getting all this debt. And unfortunately, they just can't make the interest payments now because the landscape really dried up. And so, yeah, I think that is probably the big reason why VDE and a lot of these energy sector ETFs have really gone downhill. And that and well, I guess I can't say that I'm wholly out of the woods because I did lose money on Chesapeake Energy, and I've also lost money on Seadrill Partners, the driller. So I guess I can't say I'm fully out of the woods and I'm fully even on energy stock, but I'd say as a whole, it's not down too much in terms of the overall position. But I'd be curious to look at it as an overall position, how much I'm down. That brings up a good point. So.
Yeah. So you think it will ever, like ExxonMobil is the number one holding, and then I keep asking everybody about this because and then Chevron, and then they have ConocoPhillips. Do you think oil will ever go up to where we can all get in the green and not the way everybody's losing on it?
You mean in terms of stock or the actual companies themselves being profitable?
Well, the stock, this for one, yeah, the company stock, like Exxon and all. Do you think it will ever kind of,
Go back to where it was in the $90, $100 range? I
yeah,
I honestly don't know. I mean, it's difficult, and that's why, generally speaking, what I'll do is when I'll wait until it kind of pulls back in these times where it gets into the $60 range, because I'm comfortable. The financials make sense in these sort of ranges, but even when it was in the $80, $90 range in the 2014 timeframe, it wasn't really making sense to me. And so when I was seeing people invest in those companies, even BP and Shell, when BP was in the mid 50s, and Shell was in like the $80 range, I was really not understanding why people were putting so much of their money into it, just because maybe I was being conscious of the fact that it is cyclical. And granted, I haven't been through a cycle like this. I mean, obviously I came into the industry in 2012, 2013 when I graduated from school. And so being able to, kind of see when it was in the glory days of 2012, 2013, go into 2014, and the price and the market starts drying up in terms of resources. Um, I don't have a predictor, but I think what will end up happening is uh, the market's very different now with respect to technology and stuff like that, with energy stocks. So I honestly don't know. And now that you're in this very large transitionary world where, yes, oil and gas will go up at a rate of 2% a year in terms of growth, you also have the fact that like these renewables are growing at double, maybe even three times the rate, 5, 6, sometimes up to 10%. So it's very different, very interesting.
yeah,
I can't say. I really wish I knew. I personally am banking on the fact that hopefully they'll continue to be able to pay the dividends. I'm a big investor in Exxon, BP, Shell, Cheniere Energy Partners, Kinder Morgan, um, a couple other energy stocks that I'm probably not remembering off the top of my head. But like I said, I mean, I get, of that 11-ish thousand dollars a year that I'm getting in dividends, it'll be probably around 3,000 to 3,500 of that coming from energy stocks. So I'm hoping that in the long term they do well, and at least maybe not get green, but they'll pay the dividend, and that's more so what I'm concerned about.
exactly. Yes, that's true. That's true.
So I'm
So, yeah,
curious if I'm sure a lot of people have asked want to know a lot of questions. I'm sure everyone sees you, and you're always so good about going on everyone's live streams. I'm like astonished that like you are able to keep up with everybody. I'm super impressed. Um,
well, the reason is, Matt, that I don't work. I'm home all the time, and investing is something that I enjoy so much, and I'm on YouTube a lot. So, and I'm a live stream junkie. Whenever I can catch one, especially on. So I'm just there. And today, what happened was I was late on JMac, and then all of a sudden, your this thing on my feed popped up, and I said, "Oh my God, he's live too." So I was, and then you called out my name, so I said, okay, well, I'm going to stay with you.
yeah.
And yeah, but I was actually on phone with my sister, so I missed out lots of JMac, the live stream, and yours too, most of it. But I was there. I mean, it was something that I could not avoid because there was just some family thing going on. So that's the reason. But yeah, I will always be there. I'm always on the lookout now. Who's having that next live stream? And I'm right there. In fact, I was telling Gen X, I said, Monday is one slot that nobody's has taken where there's no live stream. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, somebody's always there, and
Yeah.
then of course Friday is Ryan, independent investor, and I
Right.
just love that guy. He's just so awesome, so straightforward, just right there, he'll give it to you straight. So, and then Saturday is what's his name, Rico Suave, yeah, Jose, and so on and so forth. So I'm always looking for live streams. That's
Yeah,
why I'm there, and I'll always be there. You'll always find me there, commenting,
yeah.
commenting, and supporting you guys. And anything that I can, that's the reason I came on right now. I said, I mean, I have to support you, and I have to get on there because you've been, uh, wanting me to be on your live chat. So here
Well,
I
yeah. I mean,
am.
you're such a vital part of our community, and you're very lively, and uh,
Oh my God.
and so, and that being said, like a lot of the people that are in here are, I don't want to say they're trying to promote the channel, but they're trying to promote the community. So people like Hidden Freedom Investing, Gen X Dividend Investor, we're all, kind of become some sort of camaraderie. But these guys are distributing content, and so it's interesting to see someone that's always so involved, but yet doesn't have a channel. And I personally am waiting for you to buy your camera and start doing your screencast for us to see your portfolio. But I'm just messing with you. But
Oh my gosh,
it's
no.
great. It's great to see you and finally put a voice to the name and get a little bit more connected with you. And uh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, I love it too. I love it too. Believe me, it's been, it's an honor for you to, have me on here really,
yeah.
because I'm basically, just even this few people that know me is just like an honor. You're young kids, you're interested in that old lady like me. It's like, oh my gosh.
Well, you got a lot of experience and you have a different perspective, and so like you just bringing that on is extremely vital for us folks because in very short time, as you'll probably know, we'll be where you are, and we'll need that sort of perspective and mindset to be successful when we go from say building our portfolios to maintaining them for income in the future. So
Sure, yeah, anytime. Yeah, I sometimes I talk with Dave, and I'm telling him, oh, do this and do that. We talk about different topics, and it's so much fun, and he gives me so much attention. So does Gen X. So and you are all there wanting to talk to me. Gosh, it's unbelievable. I can't believe it.
So I'm
Yeah, but
curious.
anytime.
Do you have any
Hmm?
questions for me or anything else that you are curious about? Obviously, I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning. I'm still 28, and so have a whole investing career ahead of me. But curious,
Yeah.
while I have you on here, if you ever had any questions about anything that I'm doing that you don't necessarily understand, and I obviously have a bunch of different questions. I could go on for hours asking you stuff. So
Yeah, well, no, when I listen to you, you come off as so savvy, and you know what you're doing, and what you're talking about, because I feel very that I'm not good at investing. So whatever you say, it makes sense to me, and I'm just kind of absorbing all of that. But right now, at this point, I don't, I mean, I'll ask you a question. If I have a question, I usually type it out, but right now I'm just totally blank. I don't know what else to say or ask.
well, I have a
Yeah.
million different questions. So everyone does a lot of these live streams now, and
Yes.
everyone's making a lot of these videos. I guess what's the biggest? I guess the top couple things. I'm not going to give you a number because I mean you could probably go on forever. But what are the top things that you've kind of learned from the different investing community members that you value most, being where you are in your investing career and being someone that has really recently come into their own? You've been now investing, I guess you said since 2013, so going on 6-7 years investing. What's the biggest nugget you've kind of pulled out over the past couple of years from YouTube?
Okay, what I learned the most from the channel creators is how to analyze a stock, a single stock. How to you see an ETF does not need to be analyzed because there's a bunch of stocks in there. It's all done for you. But how to analyze a single stock, and like cash flow and all, it's also confusing for me. So when and I'm still learning. And so when the channel creators, when you all kind of say how when you pick a stock, what do you look at, what do you think, the PE ratio and all, it's also the balance sheet and all. It's new to me. It's all something so confusing. So what I do is I say, okay, they have analyzed it so well. I'm going to invest in, say, AbbVie. And it was, everybody was talking about AbbVie a couple of months ago, when it was really not doing well. And I said, okay, and I'm doing so well in it. So that's what I do is I copy you guys. Whatever you say is
Yeah.
doing well, I just invest in it. And sure enough, I do good. So, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to invest. I mean, I don't know how to analyze a stock at all. So I learned from you guys. Yeah.
that's really nice to hear. And AbbVie is one of those ones that even people, yeah, YouTube, it blew up like crazy. Everyone was talking about it, but also people at my job. I work with an older geologist, or maybe no, he's a geophysicist, and he was very adamant that put not put everything, but purchase if you don't have any AbbVie to buy some. He had been a longtime shareholder, and he had saw the price go down. He's like, I'm going to buy more. I mean, that's just a bargain of a deal. So hopefully everything goes well with the Allergan merger that they're going through. And I'm personally bullish on it, but I don't have enough that if it doesn't go well, that it would really hurt me in terms of the portfolio allocation and things like that. So yeah, hopefully very bullish, and it turns up being, a multi, it ends up paying itself and hopefully dividends throughout time. So that's the goal.
Well, the dividend experiment is asking me, is there anything that you have seen or heard from any YouTuber that you disagree with in regards to dividend investing? I have not. I mean, I don't know enough to where I can take on anybody and say, hey, I don't agree with you, and so this is my take on it. No, it's just something, I mean, like I said, I cannot make an argument on anything. So I just invest whatever makes sense to me. If somebody's analyzing a stock and it makes sense to me, I buy the share. I just go out there, and then I basically look at the big ones, the aristocrats. That's what I've been hearing constantly. Okay, go J&J, and somebody's buying J&J. Somebody's buying like you know. Eaton Vance, all those good companies. That other one comes to mind is, it just slipped my mind. But there, all these companies like 3M. 3M is one of those really good ones that pays good dividend. So it makes sense to me, and I said, okay, let me just jump in and see. Let's see what happens, because the stock went down, and I just bought it, and I'm doing good. So that's the way I do it. No, I do not disagree with anyone because I don't have enough knowledge.
Yeah, I had a gentleman, Andrew, that had asked me some questions. I think he's 17 or 18 years old, and he had asked me the other day what I would invest in. And I always hate this question because, as you can probably imagine, anybody that asks a question, they could be in any sort of part of their investing cycle. And you don't know what their risk tolerance is, what their goals are. And so once you're able to start kind of answering those questions, it makes it a little bit easier to sort of answer a question like this. So I know luckily Andrew is a younger investor. So I think that what somebody in their sort of position would need to do is understand, and I agree with you, a lot of really good knowledge, especially from a lot of the guys that are investing and creating content in the live stream here right now. But if I was starting over at 17, 18 years old again, my personal goal would just be, because I kind of started, I guess you could say 4 or 5 years after that, is maybe even 5 or 6 if you want to count the years that I was investing in stocks and had no idea what I was doing, is really just understand what my long-term goals were, which now is dividend investing, passive income, potential real estate that's providing me income, things along those lines, and stick with it. Because I think what ends up happening is a lot of people, they invest a little bit, they see it goes up, they see it goes down, they get discouraged. But as long as you're consistent and continue adding to the portfolio, you're going to meet your goals, regardless of whether or not you have a down year, up year, and eventually you will have up years. I mean, if you believe in the United States economy, it's going to go up and to the right. Yes, it might take a break, for a year, 2 years, maybe it'll go sideways for 5, but as long as you believe that the United States economy is going to continue to develop and create wealth long term for not only the country but for the world, in terms of products like Apple, Microsoft, creating cloud services, providing oil and gas, providing you know industrial needs for things like post-it notes and stuff like that. These are all products that come from the United States. And it's interesting, I'm living in Trinidad and Tobago now, and we're talking about we need to go to the store and get more post-it notes, and it's like so foreign to me that I'm living 6 hours away by plane, and I still need to buy a product from a company that I'm invested in. So it's those sort of things that really get me amped up and really gives me focus and gives me encouragement that continue to invest in dividend paying stocks over the long term. Now, depending on what people really want to do, whether it's passive, active, stuff like that, that's when it starts getting very fishy, and not fishy, but it gets a little bit more into people's personal investment choice. You love it, right? So all good. You absolutely love investing and seeing the individual stocks and see them go up, go down, and see the news. And so, like you mentioned earlier on, you really enjoy ETFs because, yes, you kind of are able to invest for free using Vanguard, but you have to pay a little bit of a fee to invest in single individual stocks utilizing Vanguard as well.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what your thoughts are. I mean, as a young person, what, looking back with your investment career at 65, what would you recommend for someone that's, say, 18, 19, just getting into their career investing?
I mean, I wish I started at that time. I hear a lot of people saying that, and Andrew Lang over here is like, he's, with good investment towards Fidelity, young student who does not have, just keep whatever, you can spare, just keep investing and put it on like the, how it is, that monthly or something that you put in there, dollar cost averaging, right?
Yeah.
And it's automatically, it goes in there. So you have to start now, and because when you go later on, you'd say, oh man, I wish I had started at that time. So you're at a very good place. You have all these young YouTubers who are already investing and have, like Matt Money and Hidden Freedom and Gen X. They all have that experience. So you have so much knowledge out here for you to start with. So you're in good place. Commission free, no problem. Way back when, people had to pay like almost $10-12 to commission to buy a share or what have you. So you're in good shape. But keep the young crowd, I would say, I mean, it's awesome that they are so savvy at this age and they're thinking about their future, and they have the timeline. I mean, they have long ways to go, 30, 40 years. Even you have, you're so young, you're like 28. My goodness, you have a whole, this thing ahead of you. So you'll do good. And Matt, your portfolio, when I looked at it, and I said, at his age, that big of a portfolio, he has to be a petroleum engineer. In fact, I one time asked you.
Yeah. I would always. So a lot of people would always like. Yeah, I think a lot of people put it together, and I think in the chat here, a lot of people put it together because I have a lot of energy stocks. I lived in Houston, and
yes,
high income engineer. I mean, it started to make a lot of sense that a lot of people would probably put it together. And I would skip over those questions or comments, and I would, luckily a lot of times they would have questions right above it, and I would just go right to either write that one and then right to the question right below it, and there was the question or someone saying petroleum engineer right in the middle. So
yes,
real interesting. I'm really curious though, you said you have experience now with folks in the family mishandling their money. Can you share that experience with us? Obviously you don't have to go into too much detail, but if you can kind of give generalizations, I'm sure people would love to understand and hear about your perspective of that, coming from someone that is more I guess, financially wise. You would be modest and say that you're not financially educated. I would disagree. I think you're very financially educated. Uh, but you would probably say, I was just more financially wise with my money comparatively to some of folks in your family. Can you give us some insight on that?
Well, the first thing that I just said a while back was my siblings. They blew all the money, the inheritance that they got from my dad. I just invested, and they have no clue. Women my age have no clue, and that's what concerns me. That people are, especially women. Very few women are, are aware of handling money the right way. And I have to stop. Dave, what is this about pause? Look at him. He's asking me a question. How many pause for my broth? Come on, we've been talking about it a while back, and I was telling about the keto diet, and we were discussing that. And I was telling about the broth, and here he comes. That's the question he asks me. Gosh, because he knows I have no answer for. I'm not good at
He's trying
investing.
to throw you off.
Yes, he is. He is. He's always joking around with me. So yeah, but the thing, Matt, is going back to what concerns me is that women, especially, have no clue. Their husbands are taking care of the investment part, and when the husbands die, women are left, like, what am I to do? And what happens is that people who know that the husband is dead and he's with money, they come and talk to the women, the widow, and say, okay, I have a good investment for you. And you know what they do, what they make them invest in is the big commission that they are going to get from
Yeah.
it, and that's annuities. And my husband he keeps telling me every time. He says that that's a widow maker or something like that. Do not ever, if he says, if I die tomorrow, do not ever invest in annuities, because you'll be finished. They will eat it all up, in the sense that 40%. And that it happened to a friend of mine. She had no guidance, and her husband died. She came into $1 million. She invested in annuities, and 40% of it was all gone, because in annuity is something that you have to know what you're doing. See, single stock ETF is okay for a woman like me who does not know what she's doing. She'll be all right. ETFs would be okay, but annuities and stuff like that, you better know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I would say, so that's what I'm. And a lot of, I talk to some men also, and they just give, the sad part is, oh, I don't know anything about investing. I have this, my investor, the financial advisor. He invests in something. I just hand him the money and say, I mean, I'm like, what? You don't take care of, I mean, you don't invest yourself. You're not like a self-directed investor. No, I don't know anything about stock market. So it's just it's sad. It's very sad that women are bad about it. Men are too. They're not into it. So, and this is Gen X is saying, all good. Ever try to convince her friends to invest, or has she given up on trying? I've given up. It's just like I get blank stares. It's like, what are you talking about? Even my sister, I said, invest. She says, I don't. It bores me, and she just goes. She says it just bores me to death, to where I just fall asleep if I have to invest anything. And she just, you know.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I have friends that, in passing, they know I'm a big investor. They know I have the YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. Do you ever have friends that will be like, oh, you should teach me how to invest, or I'm really curious, and then you might actually try to help them, and then they just...
Well, most of them don't know that I invest. See, I know that if they have no clue, because they are into parties, and which I'm not anymore. And how women things are clothes and jewelry and shopping and all that. They want to spend money. They don't want to invest. And investment is where you have to be al cheapo and just save every penny. And I mean, to me, I would rather invest in a stock than go buy jewelry or clothes. So it's one of those things. No,
I
they don't
think
even.
it's a mindset thing. I really do.
Yes, it is, and I don't know how I got to be like this. I have no clue. But the thing is that I enjoy investing and I enjoy the YouTube community and
Mhm.
learn from them. It's fun. It is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So.
I have folks that join me or that ask me all the time, like, "Oh, you should teach me this, you should teach me that." And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I think you were busy and you had joined a little bit later on. But earlier, I was saying that I've had folks, and I think I opened with this actually, that I've had folks in the past be like, "Oh, you should teach me," and then I'll provide them an article or I'll provide them a video that
Mm,
I've done in the past, and then in the past I've asked people, have you watched it? Have you watched it? Have you watched it? And I've given up asking people if they say I want to learn to invest. I'd be like, okay, well, I'll take them to my YouTube. And this is actually kind of a funny story. Take them to my YouTube, show them my URL. It'll show up. It'll say Matt Money. I'll hit subscribe for them, and I'll say, if you're interested, here's the channel. I have 200 videos. Feel free to watch them, and then I'll just never ask them again. And if they want to talk to me about it, I'm more than happy. I've now have a couple coworkers here in Trinidad that know about the channel, and they ask me on a day-to-day basis, and I talk to them. But yeah, still some folks in Houston that I talk to, and
mm.
they'll be like, "Oh, I need to get investing," and I'll just be like, "Yeah, okay." And I kind of just nod my head. And even something as simple as, I want to get invested, I need to invest in Robinhood. And I did this to somebody in my family over Thanksgiving, and somebody 6 months ago, or even 2 months ago, I said, here's a link. I was like, you get a free stock, I get a free stock. No, no strings attached. All you have to do is sign up. And even that, I mean, and these are people that are telling me they want to invest, and you're giving them the opportunity, free investments, and still they refuse, or just are afraid. I guess I don't know what it is. It's a mental mindset change that I think people get impacted by, and they just put it in their head that it's something I'll get to later, and then it just never happens.
Yeah, well, Matt, one thing I've learned in life is you cannot motivate or make people do what they don't want to. See, I can talk to friends till I'm blue in the face that, invest, please take care of the financial part of your life, because of course it's too late for them anyways. But at my age, for them, but they're just not willing to listen. And like HROD0794 asks, how all good, how was your portfolio affected? 2008, I wasn't investing into 2008. That's the time when I was watching television, which I don't anymore, is when each day the market was dropping 700 points, the national news, and then next day it was 600 points. So what is going on? What is this all about? What is all the what is this market about? Why 700, 800 points? And that's when I got hold of the computer and I started researching. And Nouriel Rubini, I don't know Nouriel Rubini, if you are familiar with him. He's an Iranian big, economist or something. He was saying I was this bubble. I was talking about this bubble that's coming, and now it has happened. And so he was the Mr. Gloom and Doom at that time. He was called the Mr. Gloom and Doom because he was predicting 2008, not actual 2008, but he was predicting that the market, there was a bubble and something is going to happen. The crash is happening. So that's when I got interested, and of course I started researching. But these days on YouTube, there's more material available through YouTube community that you can learn just from YouTube. You don't even have to take a course, that expensive course that people are selling
Mhm.
to learn how to invest. But yeah, thank you, Jordan. Dow, so the woman, this woman inspires me to keep on investing. Yes, yes. If I'm in any inspiration at my age, man, I mean, that you made my day. Thank you so much. Yes, I would say keep on investing and listen to these gurus, all these gurus over here that are like Matt Money and all. Yeah, they're all my gurus. I bow to them and I say, oh, thank you for all the information.
Oh, it means a lot. Yeah, you're a valuable member to the community, so don't think otherwise. And I need to join this Discord. I keep seeing people post about it, and I need to join. It'll be a good
Yes,
thing for
yes.
me.
Yeah, it's fun. Gen X or Discord. Are you talking about Gen X Discord chat
Yeah,
group?
I've seen them. I've
Oh,
talked about it. Yeah.
yeah, yes, it is fun. You must, join us there. And there's so much, kidding around, and which I love about them. Gen X and Hidden Freedom, they're so funny. These two, both these kids, they're so funny. So it's fun to, and they make fun of me a lot, which I love. They are always pulling my leg, and they're always making fun of me. So it's fun. Yeah, I'd love to see you there and have fun over there with them. And it's like, you can join the chat group. You can talk to each other. That's the fun part. You
Yeah.
don't have to. You can type as well as about it. So yeah. So yeah. Anyways, I better get going. It's kind of past my bedtime. It's 9:15 here. It was fun. Matt, and so I'm off the hook, right? You're not coming to Houston and taking my interview that way, right?
I
Are
mean,
you?
only if
I
you want.
won't be
I'm
in
not
front
going
of
to
the
pull your leg.
camera.
I
I'm
think this
done.
is good. You're done. You're calling it.
Yes,
This is your YouTube start and end.
yes, this is it. I'm done. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It really means a lot. And yeah,
Yes.
I'll definitely reach out to you when I go to Houston, but I won't make you feel obligated to give me an interview. This is your interview, and I really appreciate the first and only exclusive with All Good
Oh,
on
well, thank
my
you.
channel. That means a lot.
Well, Well, I did it especially for you because if it helps to bring more people in, then more power to you. And that's as a supporter, I'm a big supporter of yours and all the other channels. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to talk to you and all my friends over there. I mean, out there
Yeah.
in the in
I just
the
hope they
community.
don't. I just hope they don't hate me, because I feel like everyone would love to have you on their channel,
Oh,
and you
mm,
might get people jealous if I'm the only one. So maybe you can convince yourself to go on some of the other ones.
well, see, what has happened is now everybody knows my story, and it's going to be a repeat. So nobody will be interested anymore. So this is it. So you did good. You got me first, and now everybody knows about my whole story. So nobody would be interested.
Yeah.
So okay, well,
Well,
I'll
thank you so much.
I'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Wow, that was so unexpected. To be honest, when I saw All Good joining the stream, uh, I thought it was somebody playing a joke on me. I thought it was Hidden Freedom Investing, joining, and because you can type in your name, right? I mean, you can type in what you want to be called. Like I put in, Matt Money as mine, and and uh, and of course with that you can kind of put whatever you want. So I was really surprised when I saw All Good, and at first I was like, somebody is pulling my leg. But the fact that All Good joined, really, it it makes my day. I don't know why, but it really does. Like you get, this night has been pretty surreal. Now I've had 3 people join, and all 3 being strangers to YouTube in the respect that they don't create content. And a lot of us, that Gen X, that would have been hysterical if I just showed up and it was just you. Of course, I would have continued, but it would have been such a funny moment. Um, but I was even more blown away when I heard this nice Pakistani woman who lives in Houston, or Houston suburb rather, join us on the chat. And wow, I need to make sure that I take her and her husband out to dinner and hear some of his stories, because we're both in the same industry. I'd love to get in contact with him, find out what company he works for, and hear his advice. It seems like he's an interesting guy, and with somebody as awesome as All Good to come home to and talk to every night, and learn from. She seems like such a wise individual. I'm so humbled that she came on. I'm super upset that I couldn't convince her to stay a little bit longer. But I understand it's 9 o'clock, and she obviously is it's getting a little bit late in Texas. So I'll try to convince, and I'm sure others of you will try to convince her to come on in the future. But wow, I'm almost at a loss for words. When she first came on, you probably saw my face, and If you're watching this on I guess repeat after the stream is over, I'll probably put like a reaction slow mo of like the fact that like, once I heard a nice woman's voice that kind of sounded like Mrs. Doubtfire, honestly, but with a Pakistani accent. I loved it. Super great. I'll have to go to Kebab House with her on Mason Road when I go back to visit Houston. But I saw a bunch of you join the stream. I really appreciate it. Top list, I saw that you might want to join us as well. You could be our fourth caller. Yes, I agree. All good. That was such a great perspective. Hearing someone that is 65, going into the fact that she's getting closer to her and her husband's potential retirement age. Hearing her perspective, because I feel like a lot of us, like she mentioned, we talk about consistently adding to the portfolio, continuing to grow the portfolio, but at some point you reach a state within your investing career, and we talked about this a little bit with Jesse even, where you want to more so conserve the portfolio. And just because, and I feel like I don't give that perspective enough, or that piece of advice enough, because unfortunately for those of you that are watching, I'm younger in my career, and so for me in my career, I'm trying to continue to expand the portfolio and really just continue to grow the dividend income. So wow, still an astonishment. But we had another yeah, all good. You made my night. Thank you. You are the kind one here, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to be the envy of the YouTube community for at least a couple of weeks. Everyone is going to be like upset that that you came onto mine, but you're not. Maybe we're going to have to start paying you, and that's how you can make your passive income and more money that you can invest in the stock market is through that.